All right, welcome everybody to the Do Good, Sell Lots podcast, the podcast where we talk to business owners and people with business ideas and leaders in the community about how doing good works and doing good in your business will automatically improve the level of business that you get. And today we are meeting with Mr. Doug Arrowood. He's an ex-police officer, and we've been doing business together since 2021. And he came up with a fantastic idea, and I thought I'd have him on today to share it with you. So, Doug, tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on.
Well, I think the first thing I have to tell you is as I talk, you'll probably understand I am from the South, but it's not from the deep South on this part of the world. I'm originally from England. Came over here in first time actually in 1970 when I was a little boy. I went to school around here, but I came back when I was 21, 86, and met a local girl. And anyway, here I am. One of my dream jobs is I always wanted to be a police officer, and I spent 22 years with Covington Police Department full time, and I ended up as the deputy chief there before retiring and going back to what I'm doing now, which is building furniture, woodwork, and all kinds of things along those lines. But I had a calling. And my first calling was originally to go to the police department. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to help protect, to stand in front of what could possibly happen to protect people, but also to try and put right whatever wrong had happened. But all the time when I was seeing some things happening, I was looking at and I was seeing in the world. 1999 was, of course, when we saw Columbine. And we know what that was all about with the mass shooting at the high school there. And although that wasn't the first, it was the one that really sort of, I think, ushered in the modern era of a lot of mass shootings and active shooter incidents. And there's been something that's been going along in parallel with that. It's not only in schools, because that's what we tend to think of. We tend to think of, sadly, in schools, this is happening. It happens also in the workplace. We've seen it. We saw it in Vegas years ago. We saw it at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. But it's also happening in churches. And we saw this last weekend. We had an incident along those lines too. And I am not an overly religious person, but my son happens to be my pastor. So I guess I kind of have to go to his church.
Right.
So I'm always very conscious of the fact that we need to have some sort of security there. So I sort of perform that job, that task, but I also want to try and pass along some of my knowledge and some of what I've learned to other people so they can better protect their church and the people within their places of worship.
Doug, have you, you were a police officer, but tell me about your experience in dealing with live shooter situations.
I'm very fortunate. I never had to respond to a live shooter. I had to respond to a lot of live incidents, but never one with somebody live shooting. So that was very good on my part.
I remember you saying in conversations past, you had said that you were a member of the a SWAT team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, you were saying as a SWAT.
No, as a member of the SWAT team, fortunately, most of the calls that we had as a SWAT, most of the time you spend training. And it's not a full-time thing that we do like here in St. Tammany Parish or the city of Covington. We're not big enough to have a full-time SWAT, so it's something you do in addition to your regular role. You train on your off days, so to speak. But most of the times that we were called out and used, we were used in a situation where we knew something was going to happen. We had to serve a warrant or we had to go make an arrest. And it was what you might call or might deem as a higher risk incident. So rather than just go knock on the door and say, look, you're under arrest, we would send in a SWAT team. It was a rare opportunity to get together and do what we did. And we didn't want to do it, but you had to get trained in specific disciplines in order to best serve the public and to make sure anything came to a most peaceful conclusion as possible.
Right. So being that you were once law enforcement and you were once on SWAT, were you aware that some body cam footage came out today from the church shooting a few days ago? Have you seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I didn't know it came out today. I've been in my shop building today, so I haven't had a chance to look at anything like that.
I got a 45-second clip of it. Let's take a look.
Okay.
And
agree with you completely that we need to restore trust in public health.
and that's how that went down. It didn't really show too much, but I thought it was appropriate based upon the conversation that we had today. And that was, you have a solution for this type of stuff that happened. And look, I was looking at the stats when you were telling me this. I actually looked up the stats. We have 4 times more church shootings, and I'm not talking about mass shootings. I'm just talking about church shootings. 4 times more church shootings this year than we had last year. And that's a very disturbing trend. So tell us about the solution.
The trend's going in the wrong direction. You're right there, Brett. The solution is basically we all have to try and get as best educated and best prepared and equipped as we can. There's been a lot of schools of thought over the years about how you should react to a mass shooting incident. The most prevalent you tend to hear nowadays is run, hide, fight. The only problem with run, hide, fight is sometimes you don't get a chance. Action is quicker than reaction. That's obvious for all of us. If you and I had a race and I'm the one that gets to say go, I'm going to get a head start over you. The first person who makes that decision to do something has a great advantage. So action is quicker than reaction. So if somebody comes into a church hall, a school classroom, you've got to decide what you're going to do. And you can only run so far, and you'll never outrun a bullet. And I know this is going to be difficult, and it's going to be very hard for some people to stomach and understand. But there's a great book called 30 Seconds, The First 30 Seconds by Ed Monk. And what he details on this, and it's in complete agreement with what I say, is at any point in time, if you're within distance to combat the source of the problem, you've got to go for that if you're told you can. You've got to meet force with force. You'll never outrun the bullet. And time after time, what has happened in New Zealand some years ago, they had a terrible one in a mosque where somebody went in with an assault rifle, and you see people running. And at one point in time, you see them all running to one corner, and they all huddle together. What they are is they're not helping each other. They're just targets. Somebody that comes in and is a mass shooter is going to do so. He only has one thing in mind, and that's to get as big a body count as possible. Begging, pleading, none of this is going to help. And it's not going to matter if you're young, if you're old, if you're male, if you're female, if you're child, if you're adult. None of this makes any difference. Sick as that may sound, they want the highest number possible, whether it's for their mentally twisted, they have a hatred for a certain religion, or if they have a hatred for, Lord knows what, it could be anything. They want a body count. The bigger the body count, the happier they are. So you've got to be prepared to fight back. If they come in and you're at the far end of a room and there's an exit door, by all means, get out that exit door as quickly as possible. But if he comes in and there's a mass shooter and it's right next to you, fight. You might not have a chance to run and hide, so you've got to fight. And statistically speaking, it's always going to end up with a smaller body count, which is, I know it's a very cold and callous way to talk about this, but that's the truth of the matter. And that's what we need to think about. And that's what we need to combat. And that's what we need to work with. You've got to fight against these people. You can't plead with them. Once they walk in through the door and they pull the trigger, all diplomacy's out the window.
So tell me about, so you were telling me today, and I got the idea that you would be a great guest tonight, because what you have is a solution for this. So tell the audience here what you have in mind.
Well, it's like I said, it's what you do when somebody comes in. It is run if you can, if it's more practical, or if it's fight and fight back. But it's also to talk with each other and to get on the same page with each other. As what I want to do is I want to provide information. I want to provide education. I want to provide articles, writings, and links to training for people, so that those that aren't experienced and don't know what to do, they've got the areas they can go to. They've got the contacts they can go to. They've got the information they can learn from, the videos they can be trained by online and learn how to best combat or best set themselves up to be in a position that if something should happen, they'll have the knowledge of what to do.
Did you at one point ever think to start a security company that was specifically for protecting schools and churches?
Absolutely not. I got out of the police department, and as far as I was concerned, that was only something that was going to be in the rearview mirror. I didn't want to go back. I had no desire to get back and do consulting, do any kind of security. My idea was to get out relatively young. I got out in my low 50s and then start working in building woodwork. And I love doing what I'm doing. I love doing it. And that, but there's that something in the back of your mind, that little gnawing voice that says you can't just keep looking the other way when you see there's a problem. So there's a calling, as much as there was a calling for me to be a police officer in the first place, there's that calling to say, there's a hole over there. You see, being on a SWAT team, we have specific ways we work. When you go into a room, for example, two people go into a room, one goes left, one goes right. And then you scan the room and you get to the same point and you look for threats. Once there's no threats, you go out. But in the event both or one does something wrong, the person behind has to come and fill that void. If you see a mistake, you don't wait for somebody else to do it, you do it. And that's the whole point here is I saw a void. I saw where a lot of people don't know what to do in this situation. And a lot of people are saying, well, we're not sure how we should approach this. So I want to start providing some of those solutions. I want to start providing some of those answers. Some of the training, I know some people that do some great training. A lot of it's free. And that's the whole point is people don't know it's there. So I want to be able to provide them and take them to it, provide the links to them, the education. I will be writing, do a lot of articles, but I'm also going to turn that eventually into a book. So people will be able to buy it and read through it in a lot more detail.
So we're discussing at the moment building you a website for this training.
Yeah.
And this website will be available to the public or to just churches or what is your tell me your idea here.
My idea is to start out with is I want to have what I guess for want of a better term is you would call it a blog, where I'm going to just write some articles that are very informative and educational, hopefully, on the whole thing about church shootings, church safety, church security. Once I put those out there, I also want to provide links to news. So that's the two things I want to do initially. But I'd also like to get into providing some basic coursework where somebody can take a simple course and understand some of the dynamics of what they should and shouldn't be doing when it comes to this. For the people that are like me, law enforcement, retired or active, it's second nature. We know we've been there, done that so many times. We know what to do. But for the other person that says, I want to help, I want to do something, they've got to know what they should and shouldn't do, when they should and shouldn't do, what they should and shouldn't say, what they can and can't do, how they should be trained. There's a lot of questions for the newbie that I want to try and answer for them.
Right.
Now,
Well,
once I get just also to go a little bit further,
Sure.
is I would like to, at some point in time, maybe even get to the point where I have an app. But what I have to do is I have to get the website up and running. Once I get the website up and running, if I start getting a following, and if I can start, producing an income from it, it can self-support. Then I'd like to be able to then produce an app. With the app, I'd love to have the app such that we can talk to each other, reach out, and make contact, so we can actually have direct contact with each other, which would help tremendously, and maybe be able to better talk to each other, better share training, share experiences, and get on the same page.
Awesome. All right, Doug, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I hope the people watching this little video here have gotten something out of it. Is there any final thoughts that you have? Any any ideas moving forward? How this situation is going to fix it, or how we're going to fix this situation moving forward as a society?
Well, I think we live in a society that's very fractured right now. We live in a society that's very polarized. Unfortunately, I think there's a lot of people that are trying to force us into this or that. The thought of compromise seems to be something it's long in the past. What I'm trying to do is to get something that's totally non-political in any way, shape, or form. I'm aiming to try and provide information that we can all work with, we can all use, and it will benefit us all. I think my Lord tells me I have to do this for everyone. It's not just for my church, not just for my denomination, not just for my faith. It should be for all faiths. So I think I would like to put out and say that people should be also prayerfully thinking about this, considering how they can work, what they can do, and in the future, their prayers, thoughts, and all our efforts put together, maybe we can make a dent and save some lives and do some good.
Awesome. Well, Doug, man, it was a pleasure to have you join me tonight for our Do Good, Sell Lots podcast. Do Good, Sell Lots podcast. That's a kind of a tongue twister.
Yep.
I appreciate you coming on tonight. I hope everybody gets something out of this, and I hope to help you out with this project in the future.
Brett, thank you very much. It's been an honor to be on your podcast. I'm very much looking forward to working with you and getting this going and really kicking it off. I can see I'm going to be very busy in the future.
Thank you. You will be. All right, man.
Thanks.
You have a fantastic day, and you guys out there, do good, sell lots.